Are we good? We got a microphone. It's probably the most that's ever worked consistently. We get this. It's running. Now we open that. And we got a Model Y. No streams found. Alright, we'll give it a second. I gotta remember to sit down and actually play around with that software. Should be good. Yup. And then we're on... What's your camera set up? It's an iPhone. It's more complicated than that, but the camera itself is an iPhone on a neck mount. The mic is quiet again today. Something might have gotten bumped on here. Is there a way I can change the... I can change the dB range. That'll help. That might have gotten bumped. I don't know if it should be at 5. Yeah, we'll leave it at 5 and see how that goes. Okay, so we need some film. Let's grab 35 and see how these work. Do I want to do that for each one? No, I don't. You don't slide it out of the way.
I got it.
All right. We got a Model Y. Let us pick a door. We're gonna go to our cut board. We're gonna do this with a 24-inch roll to start.
All right, drawers are proud.
Let's change this out. Condition. Do the plotters come with a program to cut windows? No. It hardly even comes with software. Software is different. So this is a machine, and then you get the software that you want to get. Let's try this and see what happens. We're using Core. See how this works. This is Core. Patterns depend some on the vehicle. They've been a lot more consistent with Core. So we'll see how they line up on this. Yay, that cut nicely. Dialed in. Where'd you get the software from? From the internet. Search Core and you'll find it. Just got a spot for the June class? Heck yeah. We will see you there. Or here. We'll be here. Any recommendations on 1-inch razor blades for window prep? For that, no shit, the internet. Yeah, search it. You'll be able to find it. I think it's like more with core.
Yeah, more with cord.
I just can't really say certain things on TikTok, so. We use film and vinyl. I wasn't happy with their patterns. I'm not happy with most software's pattern. So this will give me a rough idea of what we're dealing with. They even include a little tab here. That's cool. I can appreciate that. This top edge is not gonna line up quite right. So we're gonna trim that. I've seen some posts on these. This one is kind of like a charger. Software's not really to blame on that. Although this right here is not good either. Why is it? It's like exact at the bottom. That's a bummer too. So prefer below the gasket. Yeah, it even has a little indicator here that these are below the gasket patterns. So for whatever reason, these patterns kind of blow. Because like this is fine, but this is where this would line up, right? And then look at the bottom here. It's short. It's fine on the side, like the tab. I would extend it and then trim out the top edge. But then that leaves me in a weird spot because then I don't know. Yeah, but I don't know if the other ones are going to be identical, so I'll line those up here. Because they're not necessarily, they could be totally fine for the other ones, but now I'm kind of guessing. So we'll leave that, and then we'll click cut. So we'll extend it a little bit, trim the top. Yeah, but what I was saying about the top edge not quite lining up, that's more of just an automaker thing. Chargers had the same issue. You could have the perfect pattern on one charger, and then you could cut out 3 more patterns of the same for 3 more chargers of the same year, and the patterns would be off because the top edge of that glass ranges so much. So it's just a quality control issue. And I hear similar stories for these where the window pattern is going to be all the same, but all the windows vary slightly. How much for a cheap tint plotter? Oh, you didn't ask cheap. It depends. Anywhere from a couple grand up to like 8. Just want to say I'm proud of you. Thank you. So let's line this up. See how close we can get to the top? See this? This is more what I was looking for. Now we got a defined bottom edge there. That's good. Would it be quicker if you just hand cut it at this point? Yes. Yes, it would be. But then I never learn. To be honest, I want to be able to just trim these out. For frameless doors, one of the things that's going to take me the longest is literally just trimming them out. So I would like to be able to use it, but it's the first time I've really tried right now to just do these off of the machine and see how it's going to line up. But let's fix this. Yeah, what's up? Uh-huh.
7, 8 years ago, people would say that you can't like roll down the windows after getting them tinted.
Yeah.
Just automatically.
So it's usually fine to roll them up or down. We say leave them up for a couple days because it's drying. It's totally fine. You can use the windows as you want. We'll still say, like, guidelines are to leave the windows up for a couple days, but we try to just ensure everything's not going to have an issue on you. So it is definitely a common thing that most shops are going to say, but don't sweat it on this one.
I won't roll them down. It's just they automatically roll down. So I don't care. But sounds good.
Yeah, and if it gives you, if a window happens to peel, which they haven't on us, we would just redo it anyways. So. Uh-huh. So. No. Woo. Yeah. 700 free cars. All right, let's drink this one. Oh, so somebody said they tinted a vehicle, and when it left, it had no bubbles, hairs, or creases. The customer called back a couple days, and then there were. How could that be? You just didn't notice them. They were 100% there when it left. 100% there. Water can fill specks, dirt specks. So they're there. They're just less noticeable. But you'll get used to seeing them for sure. That's one thing that makes tinting difficult. Better lighting, inspecting it when you pull it outside, but you kind of have to like bob and weave your head a little bit. And when I look at a pattern, I'm trying to I move my head around and I look at different angles, and you'll have lighting just kind of brighten up things that you didn't necessarily see. How are you doing today? Doing good. Brainstorming some stuff. We want to do a. I almost just want to see how it's going to work. Or I do. I just want to see how it works. I'm going to do like a local mailing campaign, but we have a really fun idea for it. But I would love if I could also have something that I could put in the store for it, but I'm not sure yet. Do we want to use this one? We are having fun today. A car with solar panels. What's got solar panels? There, we'll make ourselves comfy. Do you recommend Tint Depot tint to begin with? I used to, but they're not very economical anymore. You're not really saving any money by getting film from them. So you might as well just get like Geo or T-View off of Amazon. Those are like some of the only options. You're either like saving a decent amount of money on a roll, or just get a better film. Hi. No, GeoShield is not on Amazon. T-View. T-View is on Amazon. There's no films on Amazon that I would recommend for anything other than practice. Tint Depot is offering well, if they're doing a sale, that's a little different. But just roll for roll, they're definitely not. Like, film just got more expensive in general. So a lot of the really cheap ones just aren't as cheap as what they used to be. Thinking about tinting myself, do you recommend any tint off Amazon? No, I literally just said I don't. Only for practice. TV is good for practice because it's like $100 a roll and it's a dyed film. But I wouldn't get anything else for actual customers. I'm scrub-a-dubbing a window. That's what we're doing. All right, so let's peel this. It's my own car. What's a good tint that you recommend? GeoShield for a good film. For practice film, T-View. What's the most common question you get asked tinting? Depends on what I'm doing. Whatever I'm doing at the time, I get asked, why are you doing it that way? Why don't you do it this other way? Why does it go on the outside? Why are you spraying too much water? All that stuff. That looks very nice. I'm very happy with this one. Have you felt any downfall in business due to the economy? Yeah, at the beginning of the year, it was definitely kind of scary, but we weren't advertising. So I've worked at a lot of different shops and worked at some good ones, worked at some bad ones. Every single place that I work at got busy and then would get slow. So we got used to obviously that kind of trend, but we had this squeegee that out. There we go. There was a period of time at the new year, so like January through part of February, where it just slowed down like way more than we're used to for way longer. So then I started looking into running ads, tried it myself. Now we have a company do it. And now we're booked up through next week. And we have a fair amount of leads coming in. And we could probably capture more of those leads. But we have an automated system that's set up to handle it. So we really are just trying to run as much of that as possible and tweak it and learn about it. And so it's the majority of the bookings have been like 100% automated lately. Well, that turned out nice. Now let's do it a few more times. You're getting paid by the hour or the job? Oh, it's my shop. So I don't know. I'm always on the clock. I don't hear much about Sun Distribution Film. No. No, they're a smaller local company. All right, I guess I'm gonna extend this one and guess the same thing that I did for the other one. And then we'll see. How's 3M crystalline? I don't know. I don't know how it's doing around here. You just have a lot of choice now. Crystalline's just kind of a uber expensive option. And you're not necessarily gonna gain much from that. But in the right market, yeah, I'm sure it does great. But if you ask your average consumer if they want to spend like $1,500 on a tint job, then most people will probably say, what? Is T-View good quality to start with? It's good quality to practice with. It's a cheap dyed film. So the problem is it's likely to fade. So if you put it on a customer's car, they'd be happy day one, but a year, like, you just don't know. So a year down the road, if all your customers' cars start fading and bubbling, they're coming back to you and they're not gonna be super happy. They're gonna expect you to fix it. 3M is the best, only territorial. That's why you don't carry it. I used 3M Color Stable for a time. I never understood why it was super blue. So it never matched front doors for anybody that asked about it. I definitely don't think they're the best, but I'm not saying they're a bad film. I just think the value is a little skewed on that one. What's the cheapest film to start? I just joined. Oh my god. Can we make a post-it note? What's the best in your opinion? I think it's a pissing match between quite a few brands. So there's a handful of brands that all have extremely good films. And so you put them all on a car side by side by side, you wouldn't be able to tell a difference. I like GeoShield. That's what I think is the best for my business. And I don't think there's any other better film than what they carry, but there's would be films that could be considered equal to it. Not any significant difference. Whoa, that was like super. I forgot I flushed these lines. That's mainly going to be water. All right, let's check this out before we install it. The question should be what suits you the best. I agree with that. Oh, okay. Well, we extended this one. This one comes down farther now, so whatever we extended it, we just extended it too far. And as far as the top edge goes, it's looking pretty good. So let me do this. I'm going to shift it up to where I want it. And then I'm going to trim out the top edge. And I might have to shorten up the bottom a hair, but probably not. But see, that's what I mean. Yeah, we're fixing this pattern. The pattern that probably didn't need fixing, honestly. Still helps to have the top edge cut. But for the rest of it, it was probably good. So that's weird. It's weird to cut out one side and have that happen, and then you go to the other side and you're like, okay, I gotta guess. And you don't know if you should make those same edits or you should just leave it alone. But I know that is not gonna hurt it. So if anything, that's gonna make it a little bit nicer. Does it stick by water? Water helps just have it cling to the window and then you can slide it around. There's adhesive on the film. So when the water dries out, it sort of fuses to the window. It'll stick. I have a Dodge Charger Red Eye. Nice. I'm in Sterling Heights. I like Chargers. Those are fun. I just fleshed my lines out, so I haven't checked up on you lately. Have you implemented AI or some type of autophone system? Yes. And it works. And it scheduled this car. Basically, all the cars that you've seen streamed lately, those have all been booked through our automated system. What's a good plotter to start with? Look up the Workhorse 1. This is the Workhorse 2. You can see it's covered in dust, and I need to just put it in storage now or sell it because it just doesn't get used. But the Workhorse 1 and the Workhorse 2 are good machines. Is it available to the public? How much does it cost? Yes, it is. It's $200 a month. Check out tintly.io. So there's a few really good things about it. Actually, there's many good things about it. You can set it to auto respond to customers, and a lot of people go through like the same type of funnel. I have a car, I need my car tinted, how much does it cost? So it literally walks them through options better and faster than I can, and then it quotes a price. While it's doing that, it logs all the info. So if you've had a phone call with a customer, you have the recording right there. You can just pull up in the timeline. As we're learning what vehicle information, it's logging that kind of stuff. So there's just a contact profile. It's called Tintly, Tintly. But since we've been running ads, we'll get anywhere from, I don't know, 8 to 10 leads, sometimes 15 in a day. Like, we get a lot of leads now. And they're all coming from kind of like the same place. They came across an ad, they fill out a form, and then as soon as they fill out like a lead form, it messages. Why are you guys arguing about a charger? Go to like the charger circle jerk or something. I don't care. Oh, I should have grabbed a towel while I was over there. I want to learn about the cheapest brand of tint. Why? We're not here to use the cheapest brand of tint. All right, so we're gonna scrape this. You don't scratch a window with the blade, not if you use it right. So we're running across the surface. It's exactly how like chip repair service takes down the little bumps when they fill in a chip. But you take it and you just scrape it against the surface. No, that does not scratch. So we're gonna squeegee this off. What are you removing? Scuzz. What camera? An iPhone. All right, let's get this tucked on the window. How hard are frameless windows? Ugh. It depends on the window. They're okay, but if it sticks really bad, that's where I have a hard time. This almost got really bad. But looks like we got it. Model Y's put me in a weird spot. Here we go. See that? That's what I don't like. Slide it over a little bit. Just get it free. I get them as close to the top that I can. And then as soon as it goes over the side, it'll start to stick really aggressively. And it's just, don't stick. Please don't stick. Is this pre-cut? It's a mix. Part of it was, and part of it was hand cut. Good God, man. Stop it. Why is it sticking? Because it's Geo. And they just have a really aggressive adhesive. And so it'll ice skate around up to the edge, and then all of a sudden it'll work free. Part of it pinches in the bottom seal. And then I'm in this awkward position. There we go. If you pop the top of the door panel off, it works way better. Yeah, sometimes I would pop off the outside, free up a little space. There we go. It's very round. So then it looks like an edge isn't quite lining up until you get all the slack pushed out of it. But it seems like once it's free of that top edge, it just wants to keep going. So it's easy to just squeegee it and have it shift over to the top edge, slightly over, and then it locks in place. That's good. That looks good. I don't want it to move from there. Other side went a bit easier. So I'm just gonna be patient. I'm gonna let that tack up. So anytime I move it right now or put pressure, it seems to be shifting. And then see that? Pinches really tight right there. That's one reason it was catching. So we got that spot. Do you file the edges on Frameless? No, not typically. I popped those on Teslas because of that problem. Makes sense. I think it just depends, because like we didn't have this type of pinching going on the other side. So if I ran in, there's a couple things. If I ran into this on the other side, I probably would have done that. Probably would have popped the seal. But what was weird was the pattern sat a little higher on the passenger side, and on this side it was perfectly fine. But then we had already extended it. Extending it, we shortened it up a little bit, but probably could have been a tad bit shorter. There's this trim piece here. This is another thing that you can loosen up. You can literally pull this outside piece off. It's just pressure fit in. Maybe on the next one we'll do that. It's been a minute since I've had a Model Y. I live in Florida. I see a lot of people with bubbles in their tint. What happened to my camera? You two, what are you doing? All right, give me a second. We'll be back in a couple seconds as soon as it loads. There we go. Okay, we're back now. I just looked up and we were froze. That hasn't happened in a minute. I don't know why that happened. I live in Florida. I see a lot of people with bubbles in their tint. Is that due to hot temperatures? Yeah, Florida's basically a steamer. So there's so much moisture and heat. It causes a lot of films to fail early. They're just getting hot and baking in the sun all the time. Combine that with all the moisture in the air. It's like bagging a window. What's the average cost for this? It depends. Model Ys overall are a little bit harder. So we'll price them higher than most regular cars just for that. Same with Model 3s. Yeah, how do you like the full back glass on the Model 3? Yep, that's exactly what I'm talking about. Excuse me. Some people have declined to get the full thing tinted, and so we'll only tint just the bottom half of it. Looks fine on the outside. Looks a little silly on the inside. All right. Oh, not 20. I'm so used to grabbing 20 So we're doing 35 in the front. The back is already factory tinted, so we're actually doing a few films. We're doing 50 over the rear sides. He doesn't want to change the shade of the back glass, so we're going to do 70 over that, and then we're going to do 50 on the windshield. I don't have a short roll of 50. I do have a 40-inch roll, so that might help. We'll see. I declined to do those. The half-back windows, I used to just only offer the full thing. But I had enough people reach out about it, and they were like, yeah, I really don't care. I just don't want to pay that much to have the full thing tinted in the back. And it's like, well, it's not my car. So, all right. I have a crackling noise in my coupe on the rear windows right after tint. Any tips? Crackling noise. Like when you roll the window up and down? Or like a speaker crackling noise? Is this good for a 40? Over bumps. That I have no idea. Just curious, why does nobody take the window out of the car to do the tint? There actually are people that do. In other countries, it's more popular, but it's more work. If I can get the same result with less work, then we do that. If we charge to pull out windows, oof. What software do you prefer for the plotter? We use Core. Thoughts on cheap Walmart tint? I made a video. It's on the tubes.
I'm putting it in chat right now.
Is 3M a good software? I need to look at it again. They had the goofiest friggin' interface. I wonder if I can still pull it up. They had such a... So 3M Patterns brought up this site. PSC will shut down. Okay, so they made some new software that I have to look into. But it was goofy. It would like shortcut to this website. And it wasn't like just a software that you open on your desktop and then click and drag the patterns.
Back window, doors. Yeah, everything but the windshield. Probably I left the top part of the windshield where that little light is at. I'm not really part of it at all. So we have the good side of that. So we do 299, 399.
Yeah, like why don't I take out an engine to change the oil? Makes it easier to get to. Pattern looking good. I like that. I'm happy with this one. This one looks great. Let's install it. Uh, the haziness. Yeah, the haziness on cheap films. So a lot of cheap films will brag big numbers, but do you know what most companies never say or is not popular or nobody understands? I don't know. You just don't see it, but clarity should 100% have some type of like reference number. And you can measure it. Like from the manufacturing level. So when Apex was being made, I was talking to the owner of Geo, and he gave me a couple numbers. He's like, we did this and it made this improvement. Our clarity went from blah 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 to blah blah blah. And he like actually gave a thing, and I was like, how do you measure that? And he said a spectrometer. And then I look up how much a spectrometer costs, and you know, if we want to spend 10 grand on a machine or 20 or whatever it was somewhere in the range of like 10 to 20. And it's like, I think I'll pass. It's a bit pricey for me. How many times do you shrink? Like seconds? Fusion L type? No, tint slip. This. Cut it a little. We might cut it a little. But if it's slightly over, that's all right. I'll just trim it off on the inside. It seemed like it was pretty close. I have a BMW 7 Series tomorrow to do the front. Am I going to struggle? I don't know. I don't know you. You might. They can range a lot. Some of them are straightforward. The few BMW, like I've had a slew of like BMW M competitions from like a 2 to a 3 to a 5. And all of those have been really straightforward on the windshield. But sometimes just that right year and right model, or like we had a Grand Coupe, that one was okay. We had a Grand Coupe that was a coupe. That one was still okay. So how hard is a BMW 1 Series? Pretty straightforward. Like, I'd say about as difficult as an average BMW 3 Series, which is pretty easy to do. So, really, there's like a few BMWs that, and like older ones, are kind of silly, but the new ones, any of the new BMWs so far seem really straightforward. Took the windows out of my truck, so it's easier to put the tint on. Nice. Hey, it's not that like a truck. It depends on the truck. If you're talking about like pulling door windows out of an Audi, it's like fuck off with that. Good God, no thanks. But on your average like American truck, it's pretty straightforward. You can pull out the seals pretty easily. The seals aren't very tight, so you don't even have to take anything out. So it all ranges. '91 Chevy Felt. Oh yeah, that'd be a pain in the butt to tint with them in. So the perspective I talk from a lot is what I work on. So anything made within like the past 10 years, on average, that's what most people are dealing with. Patterns look good. Pattern lined up just fine. We didn't have to do anything to it. Doesn't overlap the edges. Good job. Good job, machine. Have you seen or tried removable tint? There's been a handful of them. And I've seen a couple of videos from them. We got some acrylic to do it ourselves. But on some of them, all they were literally doing is cutting out patterns, sticking it to acrylic pieces, and saying it's removable. It's just not gonna, I don't know. It's kind of like putting a baby shade in front of your window. There's a different one that seemed like it was just tinted acrylic, which, I mean, 10 out of 10 on marketing. I think it's got its place, though. It's not a replacement for this. And it's not going to make your windows look as good as this if you only do the acrylic. So what I saw some videos, like if you actually pause them and play them back, the people that were actually showing them off already had tinted windows. So they took tinted windows, then they took in a piece of acrylic, put it here, like the tinted acrylic, put it on the inside. So the whole video is basically from the inside view. And then when they go to the outside, yeah, the tinted acrylic is going to make the windows darker. It's like if I just took anything, like here, my seat cover. If I just hang this in front of the window, wow, is that limo tint? No, it's a fucking seat cover. So if you have a lightly tinted window and you put something dark behind it, it's just going to look like good dark tinted windows. Why do people use such light tint? Because you don't need to go dark if you don't want to. There's a couple different reasons to tint your car. The most popular tends to be privacy, but we have ceramics that block a lot of heat, so you don't have to tint your car dark to have a much more comfortable driving experience. This one turned out good. I like. Can I use any plotter for tinting? I can't say any plotter is gonna work fine. When you're cutting out tint, you have the tint, and then you have the clear liner. This is really thin. So if you have a crappy machine, it's harder to tune it to cut out the tint without ripping through that liner. Plotters are made to cut out vinyl And so they're going against a really rigid backing paper, and the vinyl is much softer. So most of the time, any machine is going to work out fine for that. Tint's kind of a toss-up. There's people that have had success with like the cheaper machines though, like a Vivor for like $500. We got a box. Let me make sure. Hybrids? Probably a lot of hybrids. Oh, they've thrown foam now. So we got some more colored handles. We got the turbos. And then we should have a layer down here. Yes. We got bricks of hybrid squeegees. Sweet. I like those squeegees. What kind of flooring is in your shop? Race deck flooring. I put 35% Pro Nano on my rear doors and 50 on my front. I just need the windshield done. Just need my windshield done. Chip don't like it out here. Can I buy ceramic tint from Amazon? Yes, they do have ceramic tint. It might look kind of milky though. How does the ceramic tint box look? It looks like a tint box. Can you vinyl wrap a steering wheel? The plastic trim? Yes. I don't see why you couldn't. Pop them off, and then the harder part would try and hold them. Maybe it might make sense to leave it stuck there. Out of my range of expertise, though. Can you vinyl wrap a refrigerator? Yeah, absolutely. There's a TikTok that did a refrigerator. You could wrap cabinets. That's a thing. Like people are doing like home cabinets and stuff. You can wrap pretty much anything. How long would a good tint last? A good tint, you don't have to worry about it failing. If it does fail, a good shop would replace it. Where a good vinyl, you get like 3 to 5 years out of it. Window tint's better than that. So it's kind of like a one and done thing. Please, 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 no. Doing too much wandering. I have a 2008 Mustang. I'm trying to change the look of the steering wheel. Yeah, if you have just plastic trim around it. But any, like, if you're talking about, like, little pieces that are here, yes, you could do those. They'd be a little intricate, but not bad. But if you're talking about, like, stuff like this, that would be probably harder, but I don't know. I don't do it. Might make more sense to just take the pieces off and paint them. Do you tint the taillights? No. No, I'm boring. I just do windows. If I had to do the taillights, I could probably do them. But we never brought it in as like a service that we want to just offer. Because there's so many different types of taillights that suck to tint. So many. Are taillights illegal to tint? Most fun stuff is illegal. If you want to do something to your lights, it's illegal. You want to do something to your windows, it's illegal. Anything that like makes your car stand out. Vinyl wrap's not. But a lot of things, all the fun accessories were like always illegal. It got really annoying. For lights, I'm sure it depends some on the state, but in Michigan, it was like, as long as they were amber, they were still okay. And then factory headlights started getting ridiculous. So now there's not really a need to do anything aftermarket to that kind of stuff. But any types of colors or coverings or that, it's all not okay. Got pulled over for having green headlights. Yeah. Yep. Green, that stands out a lot. Every once in a while, I'll see like a Trailblazer, like an older one with like purple headlights or something. I'll be honest, they all kind of look goofy now. Like they just look very dated. Working on the fascist car. Should we do that? Should we make working on Teslas like a political statement? We just like, we'll advertise it. Just like, we no longer work on Teslas. I just went up and I kicked the bee's nest is what I did. I don't care one way or another. But we might have gotten a lot of F-150s to tint if we just like came out with a statement about it. F-150s are easy. All right, let's get the back. So we're gonna swap this out. Ooh. Quarter windows, I forgot. Let's do quarter windows. I was gonna put them on the back last, but this doesn't make any sense. So we're doing 50 on those, 70. You aren't supporting, he's a fascist, but you aren't supporting the purchase of the car. Well, thank you for looking at it very sensibly. I got flipped off while I was driving my Model 3. I'm like, look, dude, I got a lease deal in like 23. I still got like another year. Hang on, how do we do this? There's like a, where's the, it's this one. That's what I'm looking for. Then we'll copy this one. Just because we can fit a lot of them. Oh, look at that. How fast can you cut out that many quarter windows? Do we need that many quarter windows? No. But we're going to cut a strip out of it, so we might as well. Might as well make some use out of it. We can use it as a way to see how dialed in our machine is, though. How much did the machine cost? That one retails for like $7,500. You don't need one that's that big, and you don't even need a graph tech. I intended on doing more with PPF, and we still haven't done that, so that was good. Oh, now here's a problem. I gotta figure out which one goes on which side. Let's guess. This one, oh. This one is the other side. We did it. 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 So this is such a little flat quarter window. I still would sometimes just shrink them just for the fun of it, but you definitely don't have to shrink that one if you don't want to. What are we spending $700 on? I missed that part. How do you clean tinted windows after? Use an ammonia-free glass cleaner. Spray away is really good. We give a can away now to every customer, along with a towel. They're really inexpensive too. Like you can get a can of spray. Spray away is like my favorite glass cleaner. You can get a can of it for like $3 or less. I don't know how they do that, but they do. So every customer, this is our little laser station. So every customer gets a towel with our logo on it so they can clean up the windows. And then a bottle of sprayway. So we put this here, and then we start that, and then it puts our logo in it. It's nice. It's with the, so it, I might be able to make it work. Hang on. It starts with a P, doesn't it? Oh, yeah. No, laser pecker. This one. Okay, I'm gonna. Let me see if I can get another one going real quick. So this app, I hope I don't have to. Ah, god damn it! I'm gonna log in. Oh, that's gonna literally show it. We're not to the password yet. Are we out of view? Okay, cool. Okay, so I go to create, load previous project. So we have our logo. We connect it to that, and then we get a little window here. I think we can size this up just a bit more. Then we click preview, and then see this box. That's how big it's going to be, and that's where it's going to engrave. And then all I do is click next. It's going to send the file to that thing. And then these are good settings for it, and I click start. And then we'll come back in like 5 minutes and we'll have a logo. Okay, cool. It's still connected. I thought it might have disconnected. All right, cool. What's next? Other quarter window. Let's get that done, and then we'll do the back. Ooh, before we do that quarter window, let's prep the back. All those quarter window cutouts, you didn't need that many? I know, but I only had the 36-inch roll. It was already in there. So we have more. It is a good plate. What flooring? This is race deck. It needs to be just a little taller. I'm on your computer? Yeah. Oops. It's always funny when I do that. Yeah, everybody in chat, they're there. And then over there. I got a beetle today. Oof. That's no fun. It might be okay. You know, I did the newer one. The newer one probably like 7 or 8 years ago. But it was the newer style with a spoiler. It wasn't that bad. The older one, I think, is more difficult. I need to just set up a station and buy that window and like a Corvette window and maybe, like, where do we put them now? But it'd be great to just hang them on the windows. Okay, now we'll let that dry. Is the windshield coated yet? No. I have a Honda Civic window, the one that has the spoiler blocking. Ooh. That one's worth buying the window for. I did that. I had a couple people ask. I've only ever had probably about 4 or 5 of those. But it's well worth getting the glass so you don't have to do anything about the spoiler. Have you done a Cybertruck? No. We'll probably get a Cybertruck in like a year when they're already not very popular anymore. But we'll probably get one like a year after that. That seems to be the case. For whatever reason, like C8 Corvette came out, and we didn't get a C8 Corvette until like a year, year and a half. My hand is slippery. There we go. I just did a Cybertruck windshield, and that's not fun. Oh, I know. I know they're not fun. Oh, this is a insurance thing. That's right. There we go. So we're waiting for the back window. And while we're waiting for that, we can prep some stuff on the inside of the windshield before we coat it. That way we can stay ahead of a couple things. Yeah, the Cybertruck windshield. I mean, that's right up there with might be easier, but hard in its own way. Only by a small margin. The Model X. That windshield also is just a giant pain in the butt. Do people normally tint their sunroofs? Not normally. Especially when you tell people that it's already factory tinted. What age are you retiring? Oh, I don't know. I don't know what I do. But there's other parts of the business that I really like that aren't tinting cars, so. What are you using to record? I've got an iPhone. YouTube? Yeah, we're there right now. We're on both. Yeah, I have a neck mount, and boy, does that get in the way sometimes. Not live? Yes, I am. Go check. Unless it stopped. Matt is monetizing anything that has a money sign. You're not wrong. There we go. This side's good. So let's go check on the back window. Do we need to wait a little bit longer? Looks like it. So we'll go do the other side. This is like part experimenting. I like taping the headliner, and the seal guard tape works better for that now. It doesn't fall off at all, where the old stuff would stick there for a little while and then would start to just kind of like fall off the fabric. This does a really good job of staying through the whole installation. It doesn't grab aggressively. I think I can literally hear myself in here. How's the weather been? It's been better, but it was a really slow start. Like, it dragged on. Just like gray, cloudy. Right now is like warmer, but it's still gray outside. I left like 4 months ago. It didn't get better right when you left. Sometimes that happens. We just needed the right person to leave. Mobile in Florida, that's difficult, especially because you have, like, you guys have like tropical storms that'll just blow in for like an hour. I heard the beep. My towel's done. What did you say? I wasn't paying attention. I don't know. What's that for? It's just to help so I don't bump the sides with a squeegee. Helps a little bit with water. And when we're installing, we're reverse rolling. So the tint will sometimes overlap this a little bit. And there's, this is all fabric. So little fibers could break loose and get into your work. So just taping up around it. Waiting for the backlash. We got to do the quarter window. This is almost dry. We got just a couple spots. See this? This is still a little damp, but that's all dry. Let's grab our other quarter window. We'll install that. Should be this one. Yes. Oh, I wasn't kidding about the seat covers. So, I don't know if you guys ever just throw a towel over a Tesla screen, but they fall off really easily. The seat covers that we have now, they just stay. So we just like flap it over the top, it's over the center. We have somewhere where we can set tools, and then we'll just take a towel and just throw it over this too for good measure. But it's nice because now it's kind of like a workspace. One that I'm not worried about hurting anything with. But we want to get a few different sizes for some different things. So another thing with the windshield is you're always stepping up, putting footprints on this area. So these mats do a really good job too of sticking here, so you're not putting footprints all over that. So when I go to coat this windshield, these will be there. I try and put a towel over it, and then I always kick the towel off. Okay. Oh yeah, I was gonna grab that one too. That's why I walked over there. What percentage? We're doing a little array here. So 50 on the rear over the factory on these back 4 windows. The very back window is not getting darkened at all. It's getting a 70. Front doors are getting a 35. And then the windshield is getting a 50. But the rear has factory, so it might sound a little all over the place. It'll look really good. Well, you could set up the pallet. Yeah, that way we can just take them and go upstairs. How does the reverse roll method work? We're able to do that on the windshield. But it's cool. You roll it up like a poster. The liner flips to the other side. I've done it so many times, I get it. But, dude, I would never have thought of it. I've had to go through it a whole bunch of times, but it's really simple. Really simple to like pull to make happen, but a little confusing on like how it even works. I've already bought GeoShield window tint, but I'm in Texas. The front window, the lowest it can be is 25%. Do you have any advice? Get 35. So you're not gonna want to even get a 30% if you could. Yeah, I mean, you might be okay, but when you put tint over factory glass, the factory glass is gonna be around 75 to 85% already. So when you layer it, the number on the box is going to be accurate. So a 20% is a 20% or very, very close. And when you put that on glass, it'll be 20% with factory. So in your case, you don't want to go darker than 25. So if you do factory glass with 35, it'll put you right in like the 30% range. All right, so we got this. I put 20% all the way around minus the windshield, but when the cop puts it, the tint meter reads 16 to 17. Exactly. So they did put 20% on your windows, but so this is a tint meter. What did we put? Okay, let's do the quarter as an example because that's the one we just did. This is a 50%. So we'll turn this on. 100%. Put this over, right? It actually reads at 55. So a little lighter than what it's supposed to. If we put this over the glass, oh, this had the factory tint, so this is already going to be darker. We didn't meter the factory. It's 13. All in all, this is all the way down to 13 now. Let me try and explain this a little bit better. Okay, so this is going to be a clear window. This windshield, let's do that. Because we can actually see what it is. Windshield meters. It's running low on fucking batteries. Just kidding. I gotta put batteries in it. I already burned out the meter again. It was 80. We'll see if we can get it to start up again. Are those the clay bars? Cool. I don't know if it was coming on a pallet, but they were coming. Nice. Do you know where the meter is that goes over the window? I know you used it not long ago.
Last time I saw it was on your table over there.
It was over here. You grabbed it for something, and then I don't know what happened. We gotta find the other meter.
The two-piece one's right there.
I know it's out of batteries.
Right.
There we go. Okay, now I can do it. So what do we got on these? 30. So we did 35 over the front on this, and then that meter's at 30. So when you take factory glass, which on the windshield was 80, I didn't meter the glass on this before we put anything on. Point is, whatever the box says, it combines with the glass, so it's always going to be a little bit darker. But people talk in numbers, but numbers don't matter as much unless it's strictly just, hey, I need to stay within this legal limit. We're so used to looking at like a 20% or factory with this or that. So it's like we know the look and we might refer to it as a particular percentage, like 20 on a car. But really, it's like, it's typically always a little darker than that. Mine's 5, it says 0. Thoughts on windshield tinting? It's awesome. We're gonna do it after we do this back window. I don't see any reason not to tint a windshield. You can go as light as 70, 80, 90% from some brands. We have as light as 70%. I can't tell anything's tinted with 70. So if you want to do it for privacy, you can go really dark. Although I'd only recommend going so dark on it. But 50 is what I like and what most of my clients like too. Just kind of a lighter shade, nothing that draws too much attention, something that's easy enough to see through. How does heat help? So we shrink it. See this? If we try and install this, it's not going to lay flat. We need to shape it to the window. So when you apply heat, the film then shrinks. And if you do it correctly, you get the right shape. Yeah, tint is a lot like a roll of tape. It crinkles, it's very rigid, it's not stretchy. Does 3M make window tint? Yes, they do have their own window tint line. They definitely, it's expensive. I don't think it's better, but it's definitely expensive. Much more popular, though, in the architectural space. You hear a lot more flat glass companies and leads with it. So it works really well for that. Less so with automotive. Automotive, it's still definitely a thing, but it's never been as popular. I bought my wife a 24 Malibu. Would you consider that easy to tint? Love tinting the Malibus. If every day was a Malibu day, I'd be very happy. This channel could be nothing but Malibus. I'd be happy. And today, we have a Malibu. Let's go. I don't get enough of them. Any tips for beginners? What are you struggling with? The bubbles. Bubbles will come from a number of things. Most of it is from installation. It's just being new. Watch videos, practice. There's nothing I'm going to be able to say that'll make them go away. Window tinting is tough. It's a pain in the butt. I'm a pro tinter because of you? Oh, hell yeah. Nice. How much do you make per day? $10 million. At least half that. Oh, I did it again. I bumped the charger. So at the end, when you're done, there won't be any bubbles. No, there'll be some moisture pockets that'll dry out, but we just finished this one. This is the first window that we did. So it's kind of hard to tell because of reflections. There's light amount of moisture spots, but it's just curing. So no big water pockets or anything. And once that all dries out, she's good. Okay, I need a towel. Are you doing a reverse roll on this one? No. You work with a guy named John? No. We're going to just peel this and do what is called the Frankenstein method. But on the windshield, we will. On the windshield, we're going to reverse roll it. I should have a roll up there. Oh, it's here. So I pulled one thing off of here. The cover. The cover that goes over this. And I don't want water to just seep down over these connectors. How can I improve my installations? It's just a repetition thing. You're always trying to learn from your mistakes. You do something, you fuck it up, you try and figure out why, and then you do it again, and you do it again. So to make something look easy, it's just like years of repetition and practice. It's like we're largely doing the same thing over and over and over and over again with slight variance and difficulty levels and stuff. So some cars are just going to be easier, and that can help is to try a different car. You might just be working on a really difficult car to start with. But it's just a practice. Can you get the white tape that you outlined? No. No, it's a specialty product. Glass Aid wouldn't be a big seller in Home Depot. Where was it? Which table? The packing table? How long does an Orange Crush hybrid last? Orange Crush / hybrid. Okay, so the Orange Crush, with everyday use, I would get about like a month and a half before it started leaving like eraser marks when I would use it. I do not like when a squeegee starts streaking. But the Orange Crush was a little weird because it wouldn't just streak, it would like leave like an eraser mark. The hybrid will last for months, and you got two sides. It just lasts longer altogether. Big fan of that one. But it's just a different material. This is the Model Y. So what I do more often than not now is this squeegee right here. So this is a pink clean. I'll use this to clean and lightly bump the window when I'm installing, and then I'll use a hybrid to squeegee out the rest of the water. You can use a hybrid for everything. Sometimes I do, but I try and stick to this one now more for cleaning. This is the same process as the other ones. They're all a little different. Most of the doors are the same. Model 3, any tips? Oversized roll for the back window unless you've already decided that you're only going to tint half the back. And then they're just frameless doors. But the back window is like, watch a video. Definitely watch a video. Oh. Ow. Is there any way to fix air bubbles? In most cases, no. There's an air bubble there. If it's like you just put it on the window, yeah, you can usually squeegee them out unless they're trapped. But if they're there for more than, probably by the time you're writing the message, they're stuck. What's the hardest part to tint? Typically the windshield. On most cars, it's the front windshield. Every once in a while, it's a back window. On some, it's doors. So if I say like Lexus, people are mostly going to say doors. Varies with the car. Just know that the windshield is almost always the toughest window, but there's definitely a range of exceptions. What percent? 70. Oh, my feet. It's in a weird position. What's the lowest percent? I have a 2%. It is super dark. I'm opening a new shop. Advice for finding customers. A lot of local hustling, but running ads is just going to be the most effective. Most like straightforward, effective thing. Because everything else has like, you know, you can just network local businesses, anybody that you think that could possibly send you business in exchange for recommending them. is interesting. Attending car meets can be good. Literally just local networking. But if you're going to run ads, Google ads are going to be the most straightforward and popular type of thing to do. Is every state different on how dark the windows can be? Yes, which is goofy. So there's a little uniformity with, like, that's why trucks and SUVs will have 20% on the rear. Is because across the country it's legal. But some states will have looser rules and some states will have ridiculous rules. But across the board, they're basically like, you can tint the back, like in Michigan, you can tint the back as dark as you want, but you can't put anything on the front doors or the windshield. And so they take that, and then that means the OEM can't put any tint. I mean, there's a few states that say that, but OEMs then legally can't sell a vehicle that'd be safer across the country. So they're gonna always design them in a way where they can be driven across like every state. That's why you never see any tint on the rears of sedans. That's why the Model 3 has that lighter back area, because it's technically a sedan. So they were only allowed to tint so far down, or else, like the Model Y, they would have done the entire thing. I need to bring you my new whip. Do it. Looking good. I like it. Do you have people that come back that have gotten tickets? Pretty rare. Pretty rare. We had one guy with a Subaru. He had 5 on his front doors, and then we just removed those. That's the only one I can think of in like years. I live in Massachusetts, and I think they're strict. Yeah, it depends. Some states they will be. Some areas they will be. Some they won't care. So if you just like, you kind of have to figure out like what is the social norm. How low do you go on the windshield? Generally, we don't go darker than 35. How good is privacy glass in rejecting heat? Decent. Again, it depends on the vehicle, but it's not nothing. It's generally more now than on old vehicles. And it definitely blocks more than the front doors do. But they take that kind of stuff into consideration. They're not putting like a ceramic layer and laminating like the rears of your average cars, but some, like I put a meter on the inside of a Ram, and the front doors were hotter than the rear factory. So like it did some stuff, but it still let UV through, and it still let some heat through. Ceramic's always the most effective though on like where you're sitting because you just don't feel that heat anymore. I forgot. I gotta ask him one more question. We're doing 50 on the windshield. Is that right? Yeah. Okay. Just want to double check. Teach me to rap. I don't know how. I have 5% all the way around and 15 on my shield. I've never been pulled over for it. That's when you get pulled over for it. When you start telling people what you got and then think you're okay, you'll be here next stream and be like, ah, shit, I got popped for it. Watch the video on my Elantra. Didn't know I was supposed to bottom load it. Came out 10 times better. The newer ones are definitely tighter. I still don't bottom load them, but yeah, it definitely is easier too. What's the lowest you installed and did on the front windshield? 15? I mean, I got a video where I've done layers of 5, but I never drove around with it. Okay, let's prep the windshield. Got a scrubby. Any tips for frameless? We just did the frameless. I technically bottom load those. I just don't pull out the seals in most cases. If I get pulled over, my windows are down for their safety. Does that mean that they won't ask you to roll them up? They know. They 100%. They always know. They usually appreciate the effort, though. How many times have you been pulled over to find that out? It's actually the better question. I just generally don't get pulled over. Why do you distort the glass on the outside? What do you mean? It's perfectly clear. I don't know what you're talking about. I got pulled over way too many times. Your well shit username makes sense then. Ooh, do we still have that? I'm gonna use this. I'm gonna try and use this just a little bit more. Do not like this though. Nobody wants a razor blade scraper that you have to unscrew to replace a razor blade. Okay, there we go. How fast do you crank these cars out to have people waiting in the lobby? So this one will tell people with a windshield up to 4 hours. They're generally done in 3. And then without the windshield, 2.5 hours. But if we weren't streaming, it would get done faster. Double cutting saves time. Plotter saves time. Putting yourself under the wire helps too. The only reason I really got faster was I was put in a lot of situations where I couldn't take all day. But now it's my shop, so I've slowed down. I do take all day sometimes. But that's my choice. What percent of cars do you use the plotter for? More now. And it's not perfect. But we've been giving it a shot more often than not. So I'm not usually using it for the entirety of the car. But the more that I can rely on it, the higher that percentage is going to get. But watch like some of the previous streams. Like that's only within the last month, really. It hasn't been before that. Bills will speed you up. So true. Yeah, when you have to just like get shit done, 100%. That's the annoying decision that I always have to make. It's like if I want to stream, then I will just book less cars. If I don't want to stream, then I'll let the schedule fill up more. And then people will go like, hey, where were you? It's like, oh, I'm working. But yeah, I'm not going to stream everything. There's some cars that are just take too much attention, and then it just generally does slow you down, especially when you're trying to film like this or manage a camera. Because this is getting in my way right now, and it doesn't exactly make the windshield that much more fun. What's a good percent for my windshield? A lighter look, but you can still tell there's tint, 50%. A darker look, but it's still functional, 35. Pretty much those. Okay, where are we? What do we have to do? Actually, we gotta... Getting a bit ahead of myself. I wanted to make sure it was mostly clean. But let's grab the 50%. 2.5 is best for a windshield. Or that. 50 or go for broke. %3 on mine. As a new tinner, how do you know what vehicles to turn down? You don't. You find out the more you do. Sometimes that's a good thing because there'll be a vehicle that you'll casually do, and you're like, oh, that wasn't that bad. And then you'll post about it, and some people will be like, oh, that car is a pain in the butt. Been taking a while to tin a whole car, but I'm just starting, like 4 to 5 hours. Yeah, that's normal. Don't feel bad about taking a long time if you're putting out good work. What got me to speed up the most, though, was when I was tinning, like, I've had this place since 2020. Before that, I was always tinning for other people. But speed for me always came with just being put under pressure. You learn how to take shortcuts. Like, so at the time, glass aid wasn't a thing, so we weren't doing this. We were just squeegeeing off a back window and then trimming directly on the glass. And then every once in a while, you'd have a car that would be oopsie, and you just wipe it off. You wipe a bunch of smear marks over it and hope a customer doesn't notice. It was like years ago when I would tint for other people. But they wouldn't give you time to care, which was always one of my biggest frustrations. It's like I liked to put out really good work, but shops just see another car, more money, and so it's always pushing those limits, like how many cars can I stuff through? Can you teach me how to tint so I can tint my truck, please? I mean, is that not what we're doing right now? How many air or dust bubbles is okay? It's never a number. You usually will be able to find something. But you never should have obnoxious stuff that catches your eye. So, like, the unfortunate bit is once you see something, your eye is drawn to it. You never stop seeing it. But for my windows, like these front doors, for example, there's just nothing that's going to catch my eye. So if I had a cluster of small speckles, I would see that. If I had a line, I would see that. If I had a squiggly little hair, I would see that. So you might have a speck or two, but I'm going to have to search for it to find it. It's when you have like groupings of stuff and you're just like walking up to the car and you can see something from a farther away distance. It's like then we have an issue. But if I do a window and I miss something and I just didn't notice it, one window has like an eyelash, but you have to look at it for like a minute to find it. So to redo it, they got to scrape it off. They're going to generally have a layer of glue, and it's going to take longer and generally introduce more dirt to redo it. So if it's really minor, I'm not going to tell somebody just to live with it. It's like if something bugs you, we take care of it and we make it a really painless process. But not every shop is like that. It's just sometimes you'll have that, you'll redo it, and then a similar type of imperfection will just be there, just in a different location. But if you notice some really bigger, obvious stuff, that's generally when it's like very questionable. Least favorite window to shrink. Just your standard ones. Like a vat, or a bug, or a Beretta. Yeah, like an eyelash imperfection. It's normal to have stuff. That I would say is probably on the larger side of things, but it just depends. Depends a little bit on what kind of car. You generally could make it look better, but yeah. Yeah, all the usual ones are not fun. What's the least amount of fun for me is if I take this job on, I don't know if I'm going to be able to do a great job. I create creases when flattening the waves in the tint. We can figure that out. I like to stay on like the same, like figure out a couple things. Are you like using a snuggle dryer sheet? What type of tint are you using? Because not every film is going to work the same. But when it comes to shrinking, we want to heat the film until we get these ocean waves. This top portion here is all loose. This needs to be shrunk. So I'm not going to try and smooth this out at all until it looks like this. So I can card this forward up till where it starts doing this. A lot of people go too far. But when I smooth it out, put firm pressure on the window. Some people will like half press it. They'll just like lightly like, it's like you're not doing anything. Pressure, card that up. See this little swoop here? We're going to readjust our corner. This will go out the side. And there. Now I'm to my next spot. We're all loose film here. So now we shrink this portion. But usually creases come from not shrinking the film enough, and that'll be a mix of things. People card the film down too far, so they'll put some heat and they'll shrink it, but this still is loose. This isn't pulled like this across the window. So I shrunk it, but I need to shrink it farther. See, now that's flatter. That's illegal in most states. Maybe we're not in most states. So now the film is pulled like this. It's looking way better. Little loose up here. So we'll see. Pressure. Card it down. Bump it forward. See how it's still pulled this way? Keep going, keep going, keep going, keep going, keep going. I had those waves, but I think I used too much pressure. No, you can use... Usually it's the opposite. People use not enough pressure. They'll half push it down, and you'll cause certain spots to stick. But if you're, like, for example, using this film, this type of film, with a snuggle dryer sheet, and you carding it forward, you could put as much pressure on the glass as you want. Creases come from folding the film on itself when it's generally not been shrunk enough. Is Snuggle the best dryer sheet to use? The best that I've ever used, yeah. You always could have some slight variations when you're using somebody else's film. I don't install everybody else's film. So certain products can work slightly better, but the general consensus is yes. But it's important to note, Snuggle dryer sheets are not made for window tinting. They're made for your clothes. So years back, we were using Bounce. Bounce stopped working well. That might eventually happen with Snuggle, but for the time being, it's great. Thoughts on crystalline? It's really expensive. There's a certain point with a lot of films. It's like with Apex, you're on the bleeding edge. If you're just asked like what's the best window film, I think it's this film. But from like our single layer to our dual layer, you're not gonna just get double the performance. Doesn't quite work like that, but you are gonna get a better film. Are you in Detroit? Yes. Sterling Heights. Which snuggle works the best? Use just the regular blue sparkle one. I haven't tried all of them. It's base. We have them on our site too because of that. Thank you for the rose. Yeah, I can explain it a little bit. So this acts like a tack sheet. So you see how this just floats and it's not sticking? But when I card it down, so like this edge, for example, we just have loose fingers here. But if I take my card and I apply pressure, now it sticks. So it's a bit of both. Dryer sheets help stick it to the window, but if you don't want it to stick, it won't. So we want it to kind of have some, anchor points. And then as we shrink it, it's not trying to grab the glass. It's just floating above it and allowing it to shrink nice and smoothly. And then when we kind of stretch it forward, that's when it's biting down on the dryer sheet. Can you teach me how to shrink crystalline? I don't install crystalline. There's some videos, you shrink it differently. You start at the top. I have an older video that shows the method. You're gonna define each finger into a big finger, and you start on the outside of the window, and you take it and you heat it until it shrinks down to the window, and you basically create a hot pocket. And then you run that heat and it balloons and shrinks that area. Just a little different style. It puts less stress, I think, on the film, which is why you have to do it. Where most films, it doesn't matter. You can just heat up the outside of it. How do I remove old tint? Watch a video, get a steamer. There's really good guides that'll explain it better than I can while I'm shrinking a windshield. That is a curvy windshield. Why did you keep lifting it? Let me see what this tape line is. It's just sometimes it'll start to stick in a spot where I don't necessarily need it to. So loosen it back up, shrink a little farther, adjust it, and kind of stretch it back out. You're just trying to finesse everything nice and flat. You're the tint version of Chris Fix. I have the same heat gun. It's a good one. It's one of the few things you can really go budget on. You just need a heat gun to get really hot, and the ones that are a little bit more expensive, they don't really get hotter. They just blow more air. What time is it? 2:14? Oh. In Alaska? Did you tell him he can pick it up, or did they say he can? Yay! Wow, that actually worked out. Well, did you tell them that he can pick it up? Oh, okay, cool. Was there like a particular one, or it's Anchorage, so it's the only one? Oh, okay. They probably only have the one. It's like shipping it to Gold Rush. Like, that's where that stuff goes. There's just not much out there. But at least they held on to that one. It's annoying that they didn't reach out to us, but at least it's like, yeah, it's here. You can pick it up. Yeah, that's especially annoying. Return to sender, oh, never did. And then the other one, return to sender. No, you didn't. Packages are fun. We shipped something out to Alaska, and USPS said that they sent it back, and tracking shows that it was delivered to sender, but not much detailed after that, and we never got it. Did they respond to that one? Did you ask them about that one? The one that was supposed to be returned to sender and say, like, we are the sender and we never got it. You did? What did they say? That Tesla lost 20% of its value overnight. Tint will be worth more than the car. Crazy world. Nah. Gonna tint my car this weekend. Nice. Good luck. Trying to find. I set my card down. So I guess I'll just use this one for now. So after I trim it, I touch up the edges. Some might consider that double shrinking. It's just the edges are part of. Oh, I put it in my pocket. That's why. So the bottom and the top are connected to where you just shrunk. So sometimes you'll just find that when you cut that, you're gonna have little finger wobbles there because part of what was immediately connected to it just got sheared off. Sometimes it's not a big deal, and sometimes you'll just see some. So always treat the top and the bottom. I really don't want to crease this. There we go. How do you know when you're shrinking it, when you're gonna burn it? So right towards the ends, I can get the heat gun super close, but I'm gonna move it really fast. Because a split second after that, it will burn. So, but right at the very edge is where you can get away with that. Nowhere else am I gonna get that close to the window where I'm like almost touching it with the heat. I'm just moving it extremely fast. So shrinking the window is just that balance. That balance between, here, is it this one? No, it's this one. No, it's This one. Sorry. We're just going to wipe that off. It's that balance between speed and distance. So you just turn the heat gun up as hot as you want it. So I just leave it all the way up. And the closer you get it, the hotter it's going to be. So it's just figuring out, like, or just watching it. So as you shrink it, see how towels, they just fall off things? As you're shrinking it, you're just watching it. So heat up an area, kind of watch it shrink down. It'll continue to shrink some even after you pull the heat away. Awkward with the steering wheel. Let me jump to the other side. What kind of tape is that? That's our seal guard tape. This stuff right here. We use it for so much now. I'm like, the whole point of it was mainly for the side seals, but it does really well. It's sticking to, so far, any headliner that I've tried it on, it does a really good job of sticking and not letting loose. But then it doesn't have a really aggressive grab to it. I'm not sure if it's, I don't think it's really going to keep the sides super dry. It's going to help with some of the water. But also some of the heavier stuff that kind of drips down, it's not all soaking into it. And then if a squeegee bumps into here and this is wet, you'll put a like squeegee line in it. Like it'll just kind of fray the fabric a little bit. Not a lot, but enough. Enough to notice something. So always be careful around the edges of these when you do them. I forgot to wipe this off. It's always worthwhile wiping off the housings to these things too. Little bits of dust and dirt collect on them. And especially all the areas that you squeegee in, dust and dirt can collect on all of that. So try and wipe that stuff away. I swear you can't wipe these things off enough. Days later. Side swipe. Anybody see where I put that lovely thing? Really? Dang it. I guess I put it back. Very bottom. Okay, cool. Now we're good. It's go time. Reverse roll. So I'm gonna do as in-depth of an explanation while we're doing this. Reverse rolling is my favorite way of doing windshields. I had to kind of self-teach myself. I self-learn how to do this. So, if I can teach myself, you can teach yours. Wipe off the outside, and you mainly want to focus on the edges. Now we're gonna peel from the top corner, and we're not gonna peel all the way to half. We're gonna stop short. We're gonna stop short of that corner. And then we're gonna pick it up from the bottom side and then spray this off. So we can soak it down up to the top. We wanna mist the top area because we don't want drips running down from the top into this. But we can soak down everything else. Then we're just gonna lay this back down as smooth as we can. But I left it still attached here. And I'm gonna do the same thing on the other side. That camera housing, and on every car you're gonna have like a mirror there, mirror cluster, whatever, always acts as a low spot for water. So gravity is going to carry this water down, and it can bring little speckles with it. So that's why I don't peel that area, but as we're unrolling it, it's gonna get peeled and stay clean. So then I'll pick up this side and I'll go halfway across, a little bit more there. I'm more focusing on dousing the rest of it. And then we're gonna put this down. But remember, it's still stuck around here. That hasn't been peeled yet. Now we're gonna roll this up. And keeping the roll tight is going to matter. You don't have to start with a tight roll. So spray the outside of the film down and just start rolling it up. Actually, you know what? Let's just keep rolling it up loosely and see if we can tighten it up nice. I bet you we can. Yeah, probably. So it's rolled up, but it's still pretty loose. So we can take our fingers, run it in here, and twist. And that'll help to tighten up the entire roll without rolling it up necessarily like super tight to begin with. Then you want to separate your liner. So the magic in this is that you roll it all the way up, you grab the liner, and you leave it stuck. And so if you take that and you pry the tint away from the liner and start unrolling it, the liner sticks to the backside. Okay, here. And then I can take this off. That'll make that a little easier. And we're going to, I flush this edge down. And you can hop in on the other side of the car. Okay, so we're carrying our roll in here, avoiding everything. But we have about 8 inches or so, 10. And we want to get that up on the window. So step 1, get that lower corner. Step 2, start rolling the film up onto the glass. And then it gets a lot more stable. So you can see we're unrolling film. And then as I'm unrolling it, my hand is supporting it near the top center. And I'm sticking that right to the window. So now all that's not falling back. Give it a little spritz, and then just keep going. Now, since we got a mirror in the way, we're just gonna tilt this as far away as we can. I can grab my liner, peel that back. And then I can use this and start peeling this away from the edge. Spritz that. Remember, this area was still stuck. So this is just peeling that fresh. It has not been exposed to anything yet. So peel, give it a little spritz. And then we're gonna take our mirror, we're gonna flip it back this way, go around, and then keep going. If I can remove a mirror, I 100% will. Mirrors get in the way, always. Peel this liner. Remember, it was stuck all the way up here, so we gotta peel that loose. And see, now it's coming off nice and easy, but spritz that before you took it off, put it on the glass. And then keep going. There we go. Get the liner out of the car, spritz, and then we're gonna put this side up on the glass. Why reduce your night vision? Because it's more comfortable that way. I don't want to see what I'm crashing into. There we go. Now, shift it all into place. Getting as close to where you trimmed it. I'm looking at my top edges. You can see this plastic housing pushes right against the window, so we really didn't have any wiggle room with it. You can get in the car. You can sit there. It's easier. Crash into. Yeah, why do I want to see what I'm going to crash into? I don't want to see that. Just let me know when it's over. And then we're going to spread the film out. So it's still moving. There's a lot of curve in this windshield. So what I'm trying to do is just knock all the bubbles down, get some of the water out, and then I'll go over it with a harder squeegee. But it's so light. It's really hard to see when you're shy on your edges. Holy, I'm not even sure where my edges are. There it is. Push it over that way. See? Where is that? Okay, there it is. So I can go over that way a little bit. Go up. then still double, triple, quadruple check all the edges. Get an outside view. The supervisor is in the house. It's the customer, and she's pointing a camera right at my work. Looking good. That's good. That's good. Okay, cool. Looks like we're not moving. See that extra water though that we're pushing out? All that. The more of that you can get out early on, it's just gonna dry really quickly. So I'll take just a lighter squeegee, go over it, get it into place, get most of the big stuff out and the film smooth across the window, and then you just go immediately over it with a harder pass. And right towards the bottom, swipe. Cool. All right, let's squeegee it off and check it out. Need a scrubby. Can you do a hatchback video? I got a lot of hatchback videos. Check out the channel. Am I getting little air bubbles because I'm not doing a hard pass? No. It's just dirt specks. It's normal. Just need more practice. But all the little stuff matters. So if you had trouble trying to tuck it into the side, or your tint bumped into something on the way in, like all those little subtle, sensitive motions add up to dirt specks in your tint. Looking good. We got something there. Something small. Because of course we do. This. There's something there. What do you got to say about a legal tint? I don't know. What do you want me to say about it? So it'll either be a really good visual or really shitty. We'll find out in a few seconds. Ooh, I think it's good. So if I have something in the tint, I want it to be as close to an edge as possible. Then we're gonna go back to this. It's out, yay. Thankfully. I don't know what that was. I don't know how it got there. He's doing everything wrong. That's okay. Thank you for taking the time and watching somebody, spending your time by watching somebody doing everything wrong. Look forward to your content maybe one day. All right. That's good. So I'm going to peel this tape off gently. Very gently. Windshield, super fun. Always super fun. It's good if the owner of this car doesn't see his work. He came here because of the channel. And he's sitting up front, so I think he'll see it. Pull this out. All right, so let's go ahead and touch it up. Yeah, what are we doing wrong? I got a windshield tinted. So I think I did okay. We're just doing everything wrong, though. Okay, what else we gotta do? What music? You guys are in my AirPods. It's all chat. Yeah, thankfully that one was an easy fix. They aren't always, but whatever was there right in the driver's vision. That's never good. But as long as it comes out, and I much rather have it be like a bigger spot. The one doing the tint. I'm the one that's talking. I'm jamming to chat. Chat, you weird today. Today is just one of the weird chat days. Every once in a while we get them. We had a bunch of people asking about weird shit today. You guys are slow. Well, thank you. I wasn't trying to rush through this one. How long has this one been? Full thing with the windshield's almost 3. We have been streaming for 3 hours. So start to finish, this one is a 3-hour job. Honestly, a little faster than I thought it was going to be. So full vehicle with the windshield, I'll generally tell up to 4. If I'm not streaming it, I want it done in about 3. But last little bits, we're gonna just clean it up, take all the seat covers out, wipe down the windows. All the frames are propped up. So before I let them down, I'm just gonna take a card, run it in the bottom. What percent? Front windows, 35. Rear doors, 50. There we go. 50 over factory. Back glass was 70 over factory. And the windshield is 50. I think Pug needs a hug. Sounds like it. Oops. Oh, it caught it. That was lucky and unlucky. All right, where's my part? There it is. So I remove this. The plastic housing kind of gets in the way. Oops, I wasn't quite there yet. There we go. Yay! But you see how the plastic kind of comes in the way of the glass there? So in order to get it tucked behind, because it literally like pushes almost on the glass, easy to get pinches and stuff. That's a really easy part to remove. It just pops back. Worth taking off. Boop. We need towel spots. Just wanted to say, because of your information, YouTube tutorials, I was able to start my own tinting side hustle, looking to grow into a small business. Hell yeah. That's awesome. Good job. Same process for a Model 3? It's similar. Similar to a Model 3, biggest difference is going to be the back window. Back window is huge on a Model 3, so you might do half of it, or you might do the whole thing. But all the Model Ys are just the smaller hatch style, so they're all going to be the same price. But a little bit more difficult for a Model Y than I'd say like the average type of car that we get. Bigger frameless doors, pretty round. I need glass cleaner. How long on frameless before you can use the windows? I just leave them up while I'm tinting it. And it gives it a little opportunity to dry. I'd say within about an hour. Maybe some lighter use after an hour, though. So you don't want to just keep opening and closing the doors a bunch, even though it's probably going to be okay. The more dry time that you can give it, the better. But as long as when you install, you don't crunch the bottom edge, then they're going to go up and down some. I'll take a card and I'll do this. See, it's really tight right here. Then you can drop it. Excuse me. I've learned to tint from Matt's video, went to not knowing how to shrink factory edge, doing windshields with Apex, doing my 5th car today. Look at you guys. You're growing up. Chad is growing up. Huh? But the pug didn't grow. All right. These can go back. You'd probably have an easier time putting this on here than I would. It's this little thing. We want it to fall correctly. We don't want it like that. Probably want it like this, right? Yes.
It's like a bracelet.
I know. But this faces a particular way, and I don't know which way it's supposed to face.
Or you can let him.
Should we just leave it? We can just set it here, and then he can... That sounds good. When is the panel guard coming back? As soon as it gets here. I know that's not specific, but seriously, that's kind of how it is. It's shipped, it's on the way, and then whenever it gets here, so we're probably expecting it within a couple weeks, I would imagine. Okay, we'll leave that there. Oh no, he's gonna pull this out. Probably. So there it is. That's it. It's done. It's done, son. What did that one get done? I just got here a bit late. Thank you. So this was 50 on the windshield, 35 on those front doors, 50 over the factory, and then 70 over the back because he didn't want to darken the back up anymore. I think he's going to be pretty happy with this one. I'm pretty happy with this one. Looks good. Alrighty, dudes. I got to wrap up here. That's 3. Gonna go pick up kiddos and get some food. Thank you for watching. What's today? Oh, there's a piece of tint there. Probably shouldn't leave that there. See, windows can go up and down. I wouldn't keep opening and closing them, but it's fine. Did you have to use a 60-inch roll on the back window? No, because it's just a hatch. So this one is smaller. It's just this piece right here. It's not connected there. Model 3 is that. Model 3 is a 60-inch roll.